Let's Get Real on winnfm. Hi, this is Lavi. Let's Get Real Wednesday nights at 8 on winnfm. Get ready for an hour of real talk that will keep you engaged and informed, bringing you insights, the hottest topics of the moment, and perspectives that matter from the runway to the political arena. Real Talk with Lavi covers all. Let's Get Real Wednesday nights at 8 on winnfm. take, what they say? You can't take blows, you can't take stones. Don't throw stones. The sounds of Peter Tosh. I got to say a pleasant good evening to you. It's a beautiful Wednesday evening in the Eastern Caribbean island of St. Kitts and Nevis. I am Lavern Davis, and tonight we are going to spend some time in the home. Yes, people, in your home. We are going to have the conversation when it comes to parenting, but we are going to focus on the importance of grandparents. You know what I mean? Grandparents across the borders and how they can help us to stay centered to who we are as a people and basically instrument in the young children. So tonight, we are going to be diving into the topic that is close to many of us home, and of course, grandparents, whether you're a grandmother, a grandfather, and you know, in these modern days, we are now having grandparents possible, believe it or not, can be as young as maybe 25, 28, 30. You know, back in the old time days when you hear grandparents, you see people walking around with their little stick, their little cane, and they look like real old people. So grandparents now are starting, believe it or not, in very, very young age. People are comfortable being grandparents, like I said, in the late 20s, 30s, 40s. That's the age of grandparents. So we're going to have this topic tonight because, as I said, back in the days, grandparents used to be about maybe people over 55, 60. Or who knows, maybe they used to be the same age, but to us, they used to look a little bit older. All right, so we're going to be talking about our grandparents and how grandparents plays a super important role in our lives, especially when kids grow up in a different country from where their family originally comes from. All right, so yeah, tonight we're going to basically have the discussion, and maybe we can help touch other people and let people recognize the importance to play a role as a grandparent. And of course, we can play that role if our children don't allow us to play that role also. Back in the old time days, you had the immediate and the extended family all under one roof. Nowadays, people are all over, especially Caribbean children. A lot of people are traveling, and a lot of people sometimes have not come back to where they was from. And it is very important to make sure that we are allowing our children to be a part of our culture, understand the culture, understand the importance of grandparents in the homes. So good evening to you wherever you are. Once again, I am Lavi, and I'm back here with the Real Talk on a beautiful Wednesday night. And the discussion tonight is about grandparents. All right? We just came off a long holiday weekend. Long holiday weekend. I guess some people started from since Thursday, Friday, the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So many people had their carnival. I was looking, I think, Anguilla as well, Antigua, and of course, Nevis appears Barbados. So quite a few people would have been out there having their cultural festival and people enjoying themselves. I saw a video going around with, last week I spoke about the Prime Minister over there in Antigua, Gaston, the Prime Minister of Antigua. Well, he's one of my followers on my social media page, so I got to say good evening to you. to the Prime Minister of Antigua. I saw a lot of things with this man trending, and I'm very pleased to see how you have a young man, the Prime Minister of Antigua is just about 57, 58 years old, and he and his wife go out and celebrate. But there was a video that was trending with his opposition where he embraced him, and a lot of people like it because at the end of the day, what politicians are putting out at the end of the day, most of these people would have been friends or know of each other. And it's unfortunate that the tribal kind of war or whatever they are trying to put out, because everybody, want the political parties to be in power. But the Prime Minister of Antigua is surely showing a difference as to how people go out and enjoy themselves for Carnival. And if you don't know about it, if you're on social media, I'm sure many of you will have seen the video where he embraced one of his opposition opponent. And that says a lot. He embraced him. It's Carnival, So that's what I like about Gassi. The guy has personality. And it also had a video that was trended when he had his wife, when his wife basically, that was jamming, and, she threw back a little batty on top of her husband. And some people say, oh, she would shout to her. No. She was not the Prime Minister's wife there. They was out on a date. They was out on a date having fun, and they was basically enjoying themselves just like anybody else. And that is how it should be, because leaders in any country, if they're being transparent and real, people like to see when they're being themselves. You know what I mean? And that's why people like Real Talk with Lavi, because Lavi is being herself, because the people that's on the thread. You have people like Carmen Liebert down in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. She's from St. Kitts. These people are real people being themselves. You have Mr. Cedri. While when he said he's driving, he's always busy doing something. He was also down in the Virgin Islands. I saw a picture on social media trending with the Commissioner of Police. He was once the former Commissioner of Police of St. Kitts and Nevis, and he was trending. He and his wife went on vacation back home into St. Croix, Virgin Islands, and they was on the beach in a bad suit, and enjoying their staycation or the anniversary, whatever they would have been celebrating, being together as a couple. We don't get to see this as often when it comes to mature couples. And that's why I must big up the Prime Minister of Antigua, 58 and batting strong. You look good. I spoke about you last week. I said, you go and practice. And it sure did. They surely practiced. They came out and they was out in the carnival troupe, and that is what leaders supposed to come on out and celebrate with people, and come on, take off your jacket, man, and come in the street and act like you're normal. Yeah, that's what people want to see. So once again, it's a pleasure to be here. Tonight, our show is called Grandparents Across the Borders, How They Help Us Stay Connected to Who We Are as a People. We are talking about how grandparents play a super important role in our lives, especially when kids grow up in a different country from where their family originally comes from. All right? So, for instance, how can grandparents help us understand our culture, traditions, and where we come from? How can they do that? If anyone is out there listening, or if you're on the thread, you can put it on, and just share some of the things that grandparents, how they have helped shape and mold us and make many of us who we are as a people. Sometimes we hear even the men, the boss, oh, my grandmother teach me how to cook, my grandmother teach me how to iron, my grandmother teach me how to do things. So when, no woman can cut no style and you. Yeah, a lot of men the boast on top of that. I don't know why grandparents will tell them that no woman gonna cut any style, because it's all about sharing. Yeah, sharing. When you come together as a couple, you're supposed to be able to co-independence. You do things together. You share things. All right. And also, and how grandparents and how they help kids who were born in the countries feel connected to their roots, even if they live far away. So, whatever you live with your grandparents, talk to them on the phone or just hear stories about them. This episode is all about celebrating the amazing things grandparents do for us. So stay tuned and let's get real with Lavi tonight, because we are going to speak about the role of grandparents and how, like I said, it's very, very helpful for the teenagers, especially teens. You know, we have a lot of young girls get pregnant during the teens, and they too will should be lucky or blessed to have their grandparents around to help them. And some of the young girls that are getting pregnant, unfortunately, like I said, there's a number of young women are getting pregnant, and sometimes what you call it is a cycle. So you'll find that mother get pregnant when she in her teens, the child come, and she repeat the cycle, and she got pregnant as well. And sometimes that's a stage where you're going to need some granny, that older head, that wise head there to help you. So, Miss Carmen, if you're here tonight, please share some of your information and your experience that you would want us to give out here tonight. Once again, I am Lavi Gumbs, and tonight's show is dubbed Grandparents, the Importance of Grandparents. Now, I am going to use me, and I'm going to share what I am doing, because most of the things what I am doing when it comes to grandparenting is what I would have seen in my household and around, the community, the village, and stuff like that. One of the things that I've recognized with children, we have to be careful that to parent a child, we have to be careful that we are sheltering the children, and we're not allowing the children to enjoy that outdoor lifestyle. So that is something that is missing with a lot of young children. We're just having them with the tablets. So, you just chuck the tablet in the child hand while the parent just on top of their phone, and they're not even taking time out to read to them, read the books. And the children love the stories. I could tell you, for instance, I am enjoying my little granddaughter. She's 3 going on 4. And right now, 3 going on 4 years, if you ain't look sharp, you have to start spelling, because these children, they're in the parrot stage. They're repeating everything that you do. So this is a very, very impressionable age, a very delicate age, an age where you want to make sure that you're surrounding your children with the right set of people. Because whatever you say, if you say curse words, the children is going to behave just like what you say. You understand? Anything that you do, they are doing it, they are watching you. So for me, what I find with children, especially when they're in the toddler stage, as a grandparent, I guess because I've been there before, I feel like I'm a little more patient, and I'm learning also from these young children. They are so inquisitive, they're so smart, right? And my granddaughter, she loved the outdoors. Yesterday, for instance, we went for a walk, and I realized that a lot of people here in the small island a lot of people don't walk no more. If they ain't driving, that you don't even see them strolling down the road with the children. And when they're strolling down the road with the children, it's just to go out in a large crowd to watch big adults do adult things. That I personally think that children are supposed to be out there watching those kind of things, right? So I took her on the golf course and she found a little golf ball. And let me tell you this. I really thought that I would have had to, lift her up. But it looked like maybe she needed to lift me up because the child just enjoyed. She did a whole golf course walk. She was not tired. And then we end up going to the pizza, because she loved her pizza. So that was a treat. And she threw that ball. She run with the ball. I run with her. And we just had fun. And she enjoyed that. So I'm urging persons out there, if you have your children, and not just grandparents, right, but parenting, anything to do with family building for little children, please let us start to include the children in our federation and do not exclude the children. Toddlers are more than just going to the daycare and expect the teachers in the daycare just to teach your children, right? Children needs to see both parents, teachers, or whoever surrounding that child is giving the same nurture, the same love, and this is how they're going to grow up to be healthy and basically learning the culture. And these are things that they will remember as they get older, and they can pass it on to their children or to someone else, right? So grandparents, again, like I said, is very important for me when it comes to family. I believe in family, although we know that family can be a pain, can be anything else, right? But at the end of the day, we as a people have to make family building work, because at the end of the day, your bad child is your child, right? And it is very important to let children grow up once you are alive and well, to grow up and know that this person is their mother or the father or the grandfather or the next of kin, whatever family related. Because a number of children are comfortable calling different people uncles, aunties, because what we're doing now is bringing our cliques, our friends, and we're basically like introducing them to that kind of family. But at the end of the day, children should grow up and recognize that family start from in the home before it comes to friends. It is very good to have friends as family, but at the end of the day, if we teach children who is who, so the child's supposed to know who is the grandmother. So if you're a grandmother and you don't want the child to call you grandmother, you want your rather nana, and there's always something to that, because I know some people definitely, well, I'm not ready to take on the grandmother role. Good night to you, Mr. Isaac Duncan Sheldon. Mwah. Good night. Good night to Miss Weave Lawrence. A pleasant good evening to you. Good night to you, Marva. Good night to you, Carmen. And I will always want to let people know, if you're on the thread, you're on the live, if you're here local in St. Kitts and Nevis listening to 98.9 FM, this is Real Talk with Lavi. Share the page, tell a friend. This show tonight is to help embracing grandparents and let people know that it is okay. It's okay to be a grandmother. You know how many people want children and can't get kids, right? And this is why, for me, I feel like I am so blessed and I'm thankful that God has blessed me with the opportunity to be a part of my grandchild's life. And I believe that with this program, it can help many people out there. Because for whatever it is, social media, like I said, it's a distraction in many ways where people use it for all sort of things. But I believe that helping to build people's self-confidence, people's self-esteem, all this will help people to remember who they are. Because at the end of the day, when you become a parent, like I said, it's a gift, it's a blessing. And when my daughter asks me, what do you want my granddaughter to call me? Do you want her to, she did. She asked me, what do you want her to call you? And for me, I remember as a kid, I don't remember nobody asking me what I supposed to call my grandmother. I did not grow up with any grandparents. They was all deceased. But I saw my mother being a grandmother to her grandchildren. And she treat them just like her own. So this is all I can do, is to give back what I have gotten at a tender age. And when my daughter asks me, what do you want her to call me? I said, Grandma. She said, Granny, Glamour, Nana, Glamour, Tanty. I said, children supposed to grow up and know the difference between a grandmother, a grandparents, whether it's mama, papa, pupa, mama, mommy. Yeah, I know back in the days, Nana was like aunties or, your nanny. But nowadays, the young, and I don't even want to say young, because there are persons that are in their 60s did not want to embrace being a grandmother. And it is sad. There's a stigma. And from when there's a stigma to become a grandmother, it is sad. So I am here to encourage anyone out there that have doubt or a stigma or feel like they're old and you don't want to be called a grandmother, you don't want people to know that you are a grandmother. It is time to embrace it. Even if you're 40 years old, it is okay. I know there's so many persons out there wish that their children can give them a child. And some children don't want to get any children, and some of them for whatever difficulties. And there's some people would never been able to enjoy to become a grandmother. So for me, I am a proud grandmother. My granddaughter loves me. And one of the ways that I find to enjoy her and to also enjoy her grandmother is to introduce her to that good old outside world. I call it nature. Children supposed to know on the outside. We're in the Caribbean. Why not take some time and go to the beach with your children? You don't have to go far in the water. You can just hang around, get a basket, pack some little things and have a picnic, and it don't have to be a big crowd, a big entourage. It could be just a little small one-on-one with you. And if you have one grandchild, if you have two grandchildren, how many children? You don't have to go with a whole crowd, but it is very important for children to grow up and see this. Otherwise, we're going to be raising some very selfish children. Children that are growing up privileged, or maybe we're growing them up too proud, make them think that they're better than other people, or they're only supposed to be receiving. Take the children in the kitchen. My little granddaughter, for instance, Grandma, I don't like eggs. Eggs? Oh, taste disgusting. Well, you know what I did? Took her in the kitchen, get a little bowl, put the eggs, let her crack the eggs, hold her hand, stirring up the eggs. She said, oh, Grandma, I'm making eggs. I said, yes, I will do it together. And eventually she recognized that she made eggs and she end up eating the eggs, as she said, tastes disgusting. Yeah. So these are ways that you have to be able to spend time. Otherwise, we don't want to be in these small islands. And all we're doing is cursing for politicians. Politicians who are living a better life than before because of you cursing out for them, and you're not going hard for your family. You got to go hard for your family and embrace being a grandparent. A lot of young girls and young boys, they go astray because mother neglect them, father neglect them, and grandmother, sometimes grandmother might not be as young, she might be a little older. Yeah, she might be a little older, and she might not end up around at the time when the child starts to grow. And eventually, if no one there to shelter and nurture and talk to that child is going to come during its adolescence as it start getting older, and it's going to go astray, and it's going to go and form company with who is out there making it available to them. All right? So once again, I got to say a pleasant good evening to you wherever you are. I am Lavi Gumbs, and tonight I am just taking some time out to see how I can embrace grandparent. And I am a grandmother, and I feel so proud. I do a lot of things with my granddaughter. I do the same things that my mother would have done with me. If I go to the supermarket, once I have the time, I take her to the supermarket. So this is like a routine, right? You have to prepare children for adulthood, and you have to prepare them in the way that they can become decent, abiding citizen and be of purpose. All right, so we go to the supermarket, so she knows, matter of fact, she go to the supermarket, and when we go to the supermarket, she knows exactly where to go and what to pick up. She knows where to go for the fruits, she knows where to buy the veggies, and she knows some matter of fact, some of the lines I don't even remember, and she will say, "See over there, grandma, see over there." And I feel so good because she always say grandma. You can't call me granny. She don't know nothing about granny. Granny is not my name. I'm grandma. So I'm now teaching her how to know Grandma Lavi. Because this is another thing. If your child call you mommy, you have to be able to let your child know that is Mommy Janice Herbert. Because in case of anything, at least a child will have a name beside mommy or besides grandma. I'm seeing somebody said, well, Lav, kids are becoming parents at a younger age now, and so the grandparents are still in their prime and do not want to embrace that role at that age. And that's the thing. I believe back in the days, people was getting children very young too, It's just that people was so independent back then. I know persons will have gotten children when they're 13 and 14 and 15 back in the days. You would hear even some men would say at the age of 10 and 14, they was already start working and holding down the home. That's how responsible. I guess they was forced to do some of these things. And now you find now that we have the young, what we consider as young generation. Being young is one thing, but we should supposed to be able to start teaching children discipline and responsibility, being able to know that you can count on the person, rely on the person. So we have a lot of young people growing up, and they're just claiming that they're young, but they're not really young and independent. And that is why we've seen so many persons out there that they lack self-esteem, they lack self-confidence, and when you lack those kind of things, you can mess with your emotional, and a lot of them get so petty, and every little thing, like you're walking an eggshell for them, and or they want to snap, they don't know to keep conversations. So this is a conversation that I would want to continue to have and see how we can help encourage people in this small federation to know the importance of spending time with your children. The amount of time you can go and spend with a man, well, it is 24 hours in a day. Most of the time, you have a full-time job. If you work 8 hours, that might be a lot. So 8 hours, but you have to find time for yourself, for children, and you just have to find time for family, because this is how children is going to grow up and understand what it takes to live in this world. Otherwise, we're going to think to live in this world is just for all the excitement, the carnival, and you go, as you see the woman that walking naked now, totally naked now. Every carnival, Bamsi in the ear, Bamsi out, naked. And I am not going to raise my granddaughter like that. This is something that she's going to have to pick up on her own. And so far, I believe practice make perfect. If it's something that you instill in the home, eventually the children would be like that, It is such a hard generation now, because everything now for women, if a young girls go out, they're going out naked. Your breast out the door, your bum out the door, everything just out the door, just like that. Yeah, from when that becomes like that. And especially in the black race, because we're seeing it more in the Caribbean, like it's like a norm. Apart from what you see on the stage with Spice and Shensia and the dancehall entertainers, Beyonce, all of them. Yeah, apart from just seeing that kind of entertainment style, it is not normal for any woman to walk the street with her bottom out the door. It is not normal for a woman or a man to just walk up the street and just burst in all kind of dirty bad word and just misbehaving and behaving terrible and cursing out one another. It is not normal. All right. Let's see what this person said. Well, first of all, Marva, thank you so much for your comment. And she said, Marva is saying, when I was growing up, my grandparents weren't that young though. Well, that's true. When I was growing up as a child, I think the young people could have identified the young from the old. Matter of fact, back in the days, young people was not allowed to be in big people business. Period. Right? They look out for you. Nowadays, you see, the older people, especially older men, they're comfortable. You hear some men say they don't want no woman past 24 years old. I've heard men that in their 50s, 60s that say they don't want the woman past 22. A particular man told me, I think I was 37, and he told me that I don't look my age, and he don't really, I'm too old for him, but I look good. I kind of, I pass his threshold because he ain't want no woman past 22. And when men can tell women these things, especially a big woman like me, it makes you want to wonder, what about those little impressionable little girls? It is so sad. And this is what is happening, right? You have the young girls, teenage mom, getting pregnant, and in the home, their mother is based, so if they're 15, the mother probably, like I said, 30 to 32, the most. So you see what we're talking about. So now, as Marva is very well saying, we're having grandparents in the home, can be 30 years old, if not, because if somebody got pregnant, God forbid, 12, 13 years old, most of the time they're being raped, abused, So if somebody get pregnant at 12 years old, 12 and 12 is 24. See what we're talking about? So at 24 years old, believe it or not, that's how easy it is. That's how it goes. And then you could have somebody under 50 years and already a great grandmother. Yeah, that's what's happening. Okay? And we need to have this discussion, all this sex education and all these kind of things. A lot of us supposed to know better. Nobody is perfect, and we get that. But at the end of the day, these are the discussion that can help many of our young men and women help build their self-esteem and their self-confidence. If we have more self-confidence and self-esteem, if you have that balance, then we will be having a generation of strong and level-headed people. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So it is 8:40 right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. A pleasant good evening to you, Mr. Woodolph. If you're just in tune, tonight we're talking about the importance of grandparents in the home. All right, so we actually diving into the topic that is close home for many of us. Grandparents. How many out there are doing their grandparents' duty? And of course, everybody might not be privileged to do it for whatever reason. And there are also some selfish children out there that not allowing their parents to be in their children's life, especially when you have boys children also. Sometimes the woman they forget that the husband or the boyfriend didn't just jump out the sky. He would have had a mother. And sometimes women is something else, Sometimes women force men to choose. It's really, really a tough situation. But it's very good when that man can take a stand and separate. That's your mother, that's your woman, or that's your wife. There's a separation. It should not be a competition. And this is why it's very important to teach children at an early age what a relationship is about. Relationship is for adults, not children. Many of us would have been there, done that, but it is time that persons learn from others' experience. Try not to repeat the same thing what somebody else went in. You understand? Because what is happening now, when it comes to being a part and playing the role, the family role, there's too much meddling. And there's a lot of persons who are supposed to know better that have not taken on that grandparents' role. And we're talking about even persons who have been over the age, over 45 and up, 50 up, 60s up, and have never taken up their role as a grandfather or a grandmother in their child's life. Yeah, they're guilty. And in order to do that, especially if you know that this is your child, got to play small. You would know who you went with, and you would know, well, at the end of the day, if you're given the opportunity, play the role. Play the role as a grandmother. You know how many people tell me, oh, well, Lavi, grandma, listen, I feel so blessed to know that I am now getting third generation. I am hoping that I could live to become a great grandmother. That is how important life is to me. Good night again, Marva. Marva is saying, I have heard some grandparents say they are not trying themselves. Oh, trying. Let me read it again. I have heard some grandparents say they are not tying themselves down with any grandkids. They will often say, "This is my time because I already mind my kids." And nothing is wrong with that, but I don't even think that this is something should be said because I've heard it from a lot of different people and I've also experienced it. You have some people say, well, in me along with you and all kind of things, but I find that women, these are things that come from a lot of women. Grandparents is not just grandmother, it's also grandfather. And at the end of the day, women don't always get the hard knock when it comes to anything family, right? But I would say that there are a lot of women out there that are sending the wrong message to other women. We are being too bitter, too bad mind, too nasty among other women. And there are some women out there that are building other women as well. I know that I have gotten some really good positive and encouragement from both women and men, but from especially women, right? And I would love to see those trailblazing women. I would really love to see those trailblazing women harvest some more, that we can cement that positivity and that family traditional upbringing in our children. And this is how I think that we can help change some of the way how our young girls and our young boys are thinking today. Good evening, Glenette. Good night. Lavi, my son is recently wed. I can I can't wait to be a grandmama. Girl, it's a good feeling, and congratulations. My granddaughter is so softly spoken and she's such an intelligent child. And one of the things that I believe for any child is to be in that child's life and to find the right, especially when they reach toddler stage, is to find the right preschool for that child. Sometimes the school, we might want to send the school to this particular school because so-and-so children might be going there. But you have to also know that what are you getting from out of these schools? Do you really want your child to be another tablet child because the child going to a certain school? Or you want to make sure that child can get that personal development, right? Because when a child, especially toddler, right? When they reach in toddler stage, most of the time they can say a little A, B, C, but you want them to be a little bit more identifying these things. So you want them to become more hands-on. And these are things where grandparents, along with parents, of course. So being a grandparent, you can find time and choose your role as to, hey, especially if the child mother is alive, right? If your daughter or your son is not like the deceased, where you as a grandmother have to take on that full responsibility, right? Then again, there's a lot of children today, they don't even want to listen to the parents. If a child now have a cough and the child go, ha, ha, oh, I have to call her doctor. From when are we got to call doctor? I grew up here in St. Kitts and Nevis, and you got your Sousa bush and you have all the different bush them. And that is what we did. That's what we did to our children. Everything, no doctor, doctor, doctor. You understand? So I don't know what happened. I don't know what these children here thinking, where some of them don't have the confidence enough to believe in their own parents, even though imagine other people out there believing in you and your own children are believing you. But when it get to a certain point where they can't control it anymore, oh, mommy, oh, papa, oh, this, that. Yeah. But then again, it comes from a baby. You got to spend time in the home. Good night to you, Mr. Rudolph Gillard. This fourth generation is different. Most of the men and women do not have time to mind kids. Pam Warner, good night. Pam is saying home remedies. And this is just it. Every time we hear something, oh, the generation different. I remember in my time, because I born in the 60s, late 60s. I'm the neck of the 60s, the last of the 60s. And I remember my mother used to say that this generation, like in their time, and this is 2025, and people still saying that this generation in like wherever. However, as much as my mother said that this wasn't like their time, it can never be like their time. But what will happen if we teach our culture? Let me draw a reference, for instance. St. Kitts have a melting pot. But as much as we have a melting pot, we do not really have an inclusion with this melting pot. Because the melting pot of the diversity of the different people that is here in St. Kitts, everybody in their own clique, they're not mingling. Like, for instance, St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, you have a melting pot where everybody mixing. You have the whole Leeward, Windward Island in particular there. You have Bajan. The entire Caribbean is there, a melting pot. You have people from all walks that are there. And people are intertwining, people getting babies from, but in St. Kitts it's different. You have this clique here, this race here, but we're not intertwining. Everybody holding on, They have their own community. I said this to say, right, that this is a good way in a sense, because even though they might be in St. Kitts, they are still teaching their children their culture and speaking their language to their culture. Why we as Kittitian can't do the same thing? Matter of fact, you will have somebody out there listening to me. Oh, make she talk so. Oh, she not say she talk bad, bad, bad. But yet, when the Indians or the Asians or the Dominicans, the Jamaicans, they teach their own culture, language, lifestyle back to their children. Why we can't accept our own for who we are? Instead, they don't speak good. This person speak good English. What is good English? Is it real grammatical errors or basically somebody just speaking patois? Right. So I believe we should always embrace our culture and teach back that traditional upbringing along with the tablet. I believe if you have the traditional upbringing and the tablet, then we can basically have a balance and our children will be a little bit more, as they say, have some common sense. Yeah, and this is what Grandma Lavi is for. So I'm grandma. No granny, eh? Yeah, grandma. Russ Jeffords, Tamisha, is it Tanisha? Okay, I can't really see. But anyway, good night, Miss Pickens. Blessed evening. Listening from Atlanta. That's what we're talking about. Atlanta is in the house. Good night, and good night to Ivy also over there in Atlanta. Pick up yourself. Mr. C.G. Walwyn, good night. He's saying it is called a messiah tile, because everyone stick to their own. The melting pot is gone. It's definitely gone, for real. It's gone. Yeah, it's really gone, because when I leave from here and I went to the Virgin Islands, I learned a lot from the Virgin Islands, but I recognize now that you can leave from here. Could you imagine you live in St. Kitts, you have Indians here. How many Kittitians can speak Indian? You have Asians here. How many Kittitians can speak Asians apart from going away to learn how to speak that language? I know when I went to St. Thomas, and because of the strong Dominican that are there, the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans, I pick up my little Spanish, Yeah, I know, don't do my little thing. I know if I want a beer, I know it's cerveza. I want my egg, my huevos, So, you want your orange juice, your jugo de naranja. I might not call it right, but I know it's that I want, Yeah, but you pick up things
And as Dr. C.G. Walwyn is saying, the melting pot is gone. So everybody hold a little clique. But yet, they pick up the language, eh? Because if you notice, the Asian them come here, they in the little clique, but you can tell those that live Sandy Point, their accent sound like Sandy Point when they speak in the English. Yeah, you have, even you go by my good friend Cindy. I remember when you used to have the factory workers them. Listen, Cindy used to talk just like them. Just like I said, like them, just like them. And that's what we're speaking about. So the melting pot is no longer there. So this is where we come in as grandparents. You pick up the torch. You understand? As Marva said, a lot of them say they're young and they ain't want nobody to know that their grandmother. I am so proud that when I go out with my little grandchild, and she don't feel so good. She's with her grandma. Sometimes when I go and I pick her, Grandma, why are we depriving the children of that joy? And if you don't want to become a grandmother, people are wear condoms. Wear condoms. And stop bringing the children into this world to suffer. Stop bringing the children to suffer. Because we grow up with little. And I don't understand all of a sudden. Everybody out there play like they're rich and they want to body shame you and they want to tell you you not got this and you not got that. And that is where we're going wrong as a people. And that is why you see how a lot of people out there going thieving, stealing. Let me say it right. They're thieving. They're stealing. They're living a fake life. They're doing a lot of things to impress who? To impress who? Tell us, to impress who? Who are we impressing? When many of us came from the poorest environment, many of us are product of growing up on butter lamp. They didn't even had electricity. They cook on coals. They cook on the stove, right? And those homes were some of the most healthiest homes. Sometimes maybe just 1 or 2 bedroom, no door. You might just have a curtain or something to close. And your parents provide for you. Your mother go to town, or your father, or whoever go to town, especially your mother or your grandmother. And she goes to town and she stopped by Amri Bakery at the time. Mr. Amri, you're going to sponsor me for this, eh? Good night. And when you see your mother come with she bun and she raisin roll and all those different things, every single one of the children gonna get. Your mother not gonna sit down there and eat in front of the children them, and the children them they're just watching with the finger in the mouth. The mother, the grandmother, let me say grandmother here. Grandmother gonna make sure that she sit down and all the children around her. And let me tell you this here, even the fowl's gonna get, the dog gonna get, the cat gonna get. We used to share. We used to give back. Where all of that gone? No, all of a sudden our kitchens feel better to be on social media, get fake pages, put up people picture to talk bad about them. And the fools gravitate to it. So in St. Kitts and Nevis, in order for us to be in a healthy environment, raising healthy children that gonna be developing to trailblazers, we have to start from the home and we have to take up our role as parents, grandparents, teachers, whatever role we have. We have to take up that mantle. Dr. C.G. Walwyn is saying over the past 20 or 30 years, however, the national conversation has changed. The melting pot is out and celebration of our differences is in. First or second generation immigrations used to take pride in saying, I am an American, as opposed to saying they were Italian American or German American. Now it seems to be the opposite. We take pride in our differences, which means we have become less interested in assimilating and becoming one. I got to tell you guys, thank you so much for this. Marva Pringle, thank you. Grandparents need to teach the younglings about their background and culture. I have West Indies friends here, and they would tell me their kids refuse to eat Caribbean food. The kids would say, Mom, what is that? That is happening in my home when my nice nephew here for the summer vacation if they don't want to eat my Caribbean food. Oh well, they could order Burger King and McDonald's because I don't fast food. That's another thing, the food, you know. And especially, you're correct, Marva, especially Caribbean children that are being born here in St. Kitts and live overseas. Matter of fact, they're doing it even here in St. Kitts because from a baby now, everything is from the artificial foods. I remember my mother, she did the mashed pumpkins, the mashed potatoes, the mashed produce. So the children grew up from a baby knowing that. Nowadays, doctors are saying do not give the child nothing but breast milk, at least up to 6 months. Don't give the child no water until 6 months up. You hear me? Don't give the child no juice until the child from 6 months. I know back in the days, and I'm sure some people still doing it, the island children, they get a calm porridge, they get whatever, and they get it when they're young. So when those children come up, they know about foods. But I think I like the idea if you can preserve them as much up until the 6 months, and you control what you're going to put down their stomach. But at the end of the day, if parents cook food, the children will know food. If you don't cook the food, all they're going to know is fast foods and junk foods. And a lot of parents don't brush the children's teeth. I don't see why a young child should have cavities. No young children should have cavities at all. So it means that you're not probably taking a cloth and wiping the child's teeth or wiping the child, the gum, the mouth, and everything, and making sure that child mouth is being clean. We should not have babies when they're young or when they're 6, 7 months. The teething, yeah, but they're supposed to be smelling like babies. So you're supposed to be able to know to take care of the child. It's all about being hygienic and cleaning that child, teaching that child from young how to take care of itself. Yeah. Okay. So Marva is saying, I refuse to eat fast food. The salt and grease in the fast food is ridiculous. Thank you guys for this. This is 3 minutes after the hour of 9 o'clock. I just drove from near Mexico to Houston, 3 hours. It is ironic that this morning my daughter, who was born here, told me she wants to start taking the female grandchild to St. Thomas and St. Croix as she did when she was a child. Great topic. Thank you. You have to. So persons, as I wind down, if you know you are living in the States and you have people from Caribbean roots, try and work towards that and get your children to visit. You have people as close as St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, and have never come back to where the parents is from. And that is one thing I must say with those Dominicans and people of those other culture. They've embraced the culture, and it's very important that even if they don't get to go back, they cook their food, right? I've been to an Asian place here, and the person, when I asked him, I said, "Do you eat their food?" He said, "No, they don't eat the food. They cook their own food." All right? So we have to be very careful that we are not all of a sudden we just looking at mainstream, and we're not even looking at the good mainstream, because there's a lot of things that we're seeing on the internet that some of the things that you're seeing behind closed doors, those people are not doing it. I've heard Rihanna, and Rihanna is a billionaire, and Rihanna said she is not going to raise many people. So when we're out there idolizing some of these so-called entertainers, do we really want our children to come up to be like Shensia and Spice and Cartel when they go on stage, and some other entertainers? All they're basically doing is pointing gun, speaking about gun life, saying they're going to kill this, they're going to do this. Prostitute, everything negative. That is what they are putting out. Do we really want our young children to grow up emulating that kind of style? Because that is not really doing, nothing good comes out of that. Nothing. Absolutely nothing good comes out of that. So when it comes to grandparenting, I am going to continue as much as I can to sit down. You get the ABC books and you teach the children. Talk to your grandchildren. They like it. At that age, they have patience. And let me tell you this, they have a lot of energies, yes, but those children will never forget you. Because whatever you instill in them, their mind is open to learn. Whatever you feed the children is what they're going to get out of it. So if you're a grandmother out there, and if you're 32 years old and you don't understand what grandparenting is about, you can try and educate yourself. Call Lavi, ask Lavi a question, ask persons who are out there that already been doing their grandparents' role. So you can always go and ask someone else, teach you how to become a grandparent so you can be better for your children. And I'm saying grandparents, but I am including parents as well. Too many households have mother not talk to daughter, daughter not talk to mother. Why? Son not talk to mother, son not talk to daughter, siblings not speak, this not speak to grandmother, this not speak to grandfather. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But at the same time, y'all live under the same roof. And the same people that y'all not speaking to is the same one that y'all are expecting to support you. I am Lavi Gumbs. It is 8 minutes after the hour. I guess I will have to ask my technician. Okay, he said good to go. So if you're out there and you're there listening, tonight, the topic is grandparenting. And I just want to let you guys know that I'm a proud grandmother. And I've never realized the joy of becoming a grandmother, and to know that we are a cycle. Your parents was in the position where I am now. Now it's time for me to take up the lead. And that same grandchild, because as the world continues, whatever you're teaching them, they're going to come up and start doing. It's time that we really build strong families here in our beautiful federation. We are more than just going on the streets, drumming, walking up, drinking alcohol, killing one another, bad-mouthing one another, woman and woman cursing out one another stink. We are more than that. It's time for us as older women and men to be responsible and take up your role. Also, men, it is time to love your mother. Don't wait until your mother going down in the grave and they drop down on a ball and carry on. No. It's time to love your mother. It's time to show respect for women. This divide when it comes to women, you see, some men got hurt for whatever reason because some of the men, they only know when they get hurt, And some of them take that hurt so far and they will put it on other women and they just don't have any respect for women because a lot of men lack self-confidence, very insecure. And that is when we're not allowing, you see that ego? When a man don't know how to control that ego and learn how to put down that ego, and know when he have a good woman beside him to treat her from here. I hate when men see grown women and they're trying to always talking to them like they're some kind of children. Men has to understand that when you meet a woman and the woman has strength, take her from here up. Vice versa. Stop speaking down to each other. Adults speaking to one another like they're children. And especially, a lot of men don't know, especially black women, when they have a black woman, they don't know what to do with black women. So, grandparents, I'm urging each and every one of you to continue to be that strength, continue to be that light in your young, impressionable children's life. Someone is saying that kids are a blessing from God. It sure is. St. Kitts needs to go back to love and respect. Good night, my sister. Keep doing what you're doing. Jah is with you. Thank you so much. I have to say that my mother surely made a very, very strong impressionable in my life. And I am thankful that she was the leader in the home. I am also thankful that I was able to grow up in a home with both mother and father. I was thankful to have a father that worked, he drink, he rum, but on Monday morning, he get up and he go to work. And weekend, he is a drunk. But at the end of the day, he was a provider, right? So there is no excuse if you're out there and you are holding down the home, and if you are a father, a mother, grandmother, grandfather, you're the head of the home. And if you are one of those persons that get up and just go to work, come home, does nothing in the home, what kind of home you gonna get? Who you expect to clean for you? You ain't putting down no money in the home. But you can take the money and go by the bar and buy for all of your friends by the bar. But your grandchild, your children, they can't ask you for nothing. And this is why we are seeing so many young girls are being abused by older men. Because the children are left unattended. It is time that we build back our families in our beautiful country. I know people say that there's no village there, but we can start building back the villages. And in order to do that, if we have more self-confidence and self-esteem, each and every single matured person, adults in the community will give back. So I just got to let you guys know that tonight I just wanted to give a little light on grandparent because I'm a proud grandparent. Before I leave here, I am looking forward to going back to school. I think they're going to be having a back to school. I'm not going to give the details yet, but it's going to be over there at Connery. I'm hoping to be a part of that, so I'll be doing some cutting of the hair. And whenever I get the full details, it's out already, but when I get the full details, I'll give you guys some more information. So if you have a little boy child and you are looking for somebody, you want a free haircut back to school, I'm going to be over in the Connery, apart with some other people, and the back to school celebration, giving back in the community, making sure that, we be a part of the giving back. Unfortunately, we don't have enough people that make themselves available because everything is political in this country. And it is sad. And maybe that is probably put a divide in a lot of things, right? But in terms of being a grandmother, grandfather, people, take up the mantle and play a role. If you don't want to be a grandmother, a grandfather, abstain or use condom. I'm Lavi Gumbs. This is a Real Talk. Next week, same place, same time. I am hoping to have a guest. Tonight they were supposed to come on, but unfortunately they had to travel. So I decided to talk on the topic, grandparents, the importance of family building. Have a wonderful evening.
Let's Get Real on winnfm. Hi, this is Lavi. Let's Get Real, Wednesday nights at 8 on winnfm. Get ready for an hour of real talk that will keep you engaged and informed, bringing you insights, the hottest topics of the moment, and perspectives that matter from the runway to the political arena. Real Talk with Lavi covers all. Let's Get Real, Wednesday nights at 8 on